And welcome back to Let's Talk Trackmania, episode number 30, brought to you as always by esac.gg. I am your host, TM Scotsman, Scotty, Paul, Bob. A lot of the people out there know me as completely different things, but let's keep it to Scotty for today. I'm joined once again by the duo that bring up our number to a dynamic trio today. We have LuckersTurbo along with us and Shorty joining us once again. Glad to have Shorty, hopefully on a permanent capacity going forward in the podcast side of things. Although, just to make it clear, you know, I am suitably attired. Turbo is suitably attired. We have received some viewer complaints about the lack of Mickey, or the lack of official apparel from Shorty's side. But I hope you guys are both doing good. Been quite a lot to talk about over the last week or so. But to start off with, I'll not throw you guys into the deep end just yet. Turbo, how you doing? Shorty, how you doing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna start. I'm feeling okay, let's say like that. Under the circumstances, I'm feeling okay. It was probably the worst week of Trackmania that we've ever had. But yeah, I mean, it's fine right now. I mean, I have a lot of things to do, so I don't really confront myself with that. But yeah, I'm doing okay mentally, physically. I'm here to talk about stuff, to trash talk you, Paul. As always.
Now we're talking.
no, but yeah, I'm doing great. I'm doing great regardless. If we exclude that drama thing, I'm doing great. I have to say that. What about you, Shorty, Mr.
Yeah,
not being punctual?
Not being punctual. Oh, come on. I have so many issues here. This is completely unfair. You know that. Yeah, I mean, I'm doing okay, I guess. I mean, the drama isn't really getting to me that much. Definitely not as much as to other people. I think you already know that, kind of. I mean, we're getting into the details anyway, but yeah, I mean, I'm mostly fine with it. I'm rather good at not taking this personal because it doesn't affect me that much. So yeah, that's just how it goes for me. I mean, it's already getting to the point where I just don't really want to talk about it anymore already. I mean, we're gonna do it today in length.
Yeah, tough shit. You're on a podcast now.
Yeah, tough shit. I'm in a podcast now. I have to talk about it. No, it's fine. Hope maybe that after today, like maybe I can just close the topic in my books until like Nadir releases something or something like that. But until then, I hope we can just draw a line and stop with that finally.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, it has been a discussion that has been running back and forth on everyone's mind and everyone's social media pages and game, Discord and so on throughout, since the kind of, shall we say, the suspicions were laid out early on, before the drama really first took its hold. But just if, everyone was not aware, if you've not been keeping track of Trackmania for the past week and a half or so. And just to give you guys an overview of how we plan to tackle this issue, we did say last week that we weren't so comfortable going in depth into things when we didn't know all the details. We hadn't seen the report being released. We hadn't seen the information for ourselves and that kind of side of things. But give everyone a little bit of an overview of a kind of timeline, what has happened here. Essentially, there was a stream made by riolu at some point just over a week ago, bringing up essentially a Discord conversation between him and Wirtual, going over suspicions of players cheating in primarily Trackmania Nations Forever. And as throughout that conversation, as it neared what seemed to be its conclusion, Wirtual then brought up suspicious replays of riolus, requested explanation of which, didn't get an explanation he was satisfied for. That conversation quickly turned sour, and as such, riolu then up to stream about the discussion that had then been had, I would say refuting the claims of him being involved in any sort of cheating shenanigans. And then from there, I believe it was a few days later, when the you know, I have missed out, you know, a few like Twitter posts and things like that. But I suppose if they're important contextual, of course, we'll mention them. But from there, then the report was then released. You know, a few people showed it on their streams when they were reading through it. Some people done a little bit of a breakdown of the report itself. You know, some people who'd read into it a little bit more, and others just simply, you know, took their time, read about it, and it prompted a lot of online discussion. You know, one of the most Reddit threads I've ever seen in Trackmania's history, at the very least. But yeah, a lot of Twitter discussion. You know, I'm seeing streamers, you know, no drama here, please, you know, that kind of thing. And it just goes to show how much this is boiled over, as, of course, riolu, along with many other players, were mentioned within this report as being suspected of using third-party programs to gain an unfair advantage throughout this game. Other players that were mentioned and I believe were suspected or have since confirmed were William B, British Nadeo player, Vins, you know, been at the top of the United leaderboard quite a lot, although I believe there's a whole thing about, you know, other people driving in his account.
Everyone.
Yeah, well, everyone, yeah. Maybe all of his times are just other people cheating on it, who knows? Anyway, Techno, who was the primary suspect of that, I believe, Nico and the Lans, I believe, was the other one. I believe there was two more. However, they only had a very small amount of replays that were available to source that they could actually look from on that. There was a few they discussed which were, you know, false positives, like Roa was mentioned in the report as well. But there has been some other people who have then had their piece to say on it, and I think to give a little bit more information on the situation, I would only feel fit to bring you into this, Turbo, as you've had, at least as we were last week, I mean, a bit more of involvement than even I expected. So, I mean, I can see you, you know, taking the deep breath in, but I mean, of course, you came out with it on your stream and such, but I mean, would you care to give our audience a little bit of an overview of your experience with this situation and how it's affected you?
Yeah, so I mean, last week I was a bit objective. I mean, there was also heavy criticism under the YouTube video, why I didn't say anything about that, but I just knew what big thing this is, and I was, yeah, like having a lot of inside knowledge what is happening behind the curtain. And that's why I just kept my mouth shut and just waited till the report was coming out. And I knew that it's coming out last week. I knew that. And yeah, I was in a sticky situation because Wirtual is a friend of mine and so is riolu. And, you know, I had to like negotiate with myself. Who do I trust? What is happening? And it was a very hard situation. I didn't comprehend it to the fullest so far. I haven't done that, but I mean, I also confessed that I was cheating because I was doing that 5 years ago, but only in some instances. Also with Cheat Engine, like some other players were doing it. I mean, I'm pretty open about that, and also people like that openness that I have, that I'm like just an honest person, and then I'm honest in this way. But you know, it was really hard because not only did I thought like, yeah, maybe I have like 200 viewers. There were almost 1,000 people on my chat. I was overwhelmed by that. But also making that statement, you know, it's nothing that is really, yeah, like nothing that is really hard. But in the matter of events, people were like also not pulling it up very positive. Not all of them, but the majority, of course. But it was a hard statement for me, and I think it was just fair to also mention that because I wasn't in the report, because Wirtual said to me that I confessed it to him privately, that we can declare it there. But I think it wasn't fair that I just keep my mouth shut and not talk about that when I was a part of that as well. So I just wanted to do that, and yeah, then afterwards, after the report, I just did that, because before that it would be a bit weird, and also like talk about the relationship between both of them and what was happening, a little bit of an insight, you know, not everything, but how I was feeling, and that my mental health was also not doing that well in this particular time. So that is the long story short behind that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, a lot of us have kind of been on the outside of this. You know, I understand you had more of a deeper connection to it with your role and situation. You know, both having the connections to both main parties that were involved in it, as well as, you know, some mistakes you'd made in the past, if we'll say it like that. But I mean, Shorty, the one thing I did really, I did at least mention before we start, or sorry, as we were starting, is the spillover from this. I think you could agree. I mean, and you were saying that you kind of want to kind of put this behind you. Is that because you're just already sick of seeing it, pretty much, or you know, how's that kind of been going for you?
Yeah, I'm sick of seeing it already. I think you can really put it like that. I mean, people talk about it a couple of times, and at some point you already like made your statement. And of course, you can understand with like Twitch chat and stuff, and in general, people like there are always new people coming in right now, and also wanting to know the opinion. And I think it doesn't even have to be the drama. I think in general, if you talk about the same topic or answering the same question over and over, at some point you just don't really want to talk about it anymore. And yeah, that happens with anything like that. And it just so happens that it's a drama right now that is, and everybody wants to know about it. You can see it on like streams. I mean, maybe there's also not really, but yeah, everybody wants to know your opinion about it. And if you just talked about it 5 minutes earlier, it's you're just like, come on, man, no. Not again. Why are we here again? I already talked about it. It's for me, it's done. I have nothing more to add to it. And also, like every time you start talking about it, like you can't really just say, yeah, it's fucked up, and then done. It's like all of a sudden you're in a talk for at least 1 hour about the topic. That's how it goes usually.
So one thing that I want to actually like add to that is the fact that actually it is hard to not talk about that, because there's so many things coming into play every time. And I think that also for me, it was like that yesterday. I can just explain you my point of view. Just the objective part that riolu has cheated, I accepted that to me, or that sounds not weird to me. You know, maybe some of you have the feeling when you have, I mean, it's a weird comparison, but when you have a girlfriend and you broke up and you're still calling her your girlfriend, but she isn't anymore, you just try to comprehend that. And that's the same that is happening with riolu right now. But yesterday, so that he's cheating, not of course girlfriend or something like that. But the thing right now we got the subjective point of that Nordavind is kicking him out and all those things, and also the Bergie interview because he was having contact with riolu, and there were more things coming up. You see the articles and stuff like that, and I think this will be a topic that will maybe for you even haunt us for the next couple of weeks, months. So that's my opinion, and I think it is hard to really close the book now because there will be more pages added to that. So maybe this will change it a bit for you, this mindset.
Well, it already haunts me. I'm not sure about you. It already is haunting you right now.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of funny when we talk about it like that. That it's just like there's so many. It has been everywhere, you know. I mean, like I said, it's been so bizarre to be seeing like Discord threads, not Discord, Reddit threads about Trackmania and such that are gaining quite you know, a good bit of popularity. I mean, considering when you go to how well maintained the Trackmania Discord is, one of the moderators is Frostpool. So I mean, that goes to show that thing doesn't get a lot of love and doesn't get a lot of attention. So to see a lot of, you know, threads coming up on it, a lot of votes, you know, a lot of comments and things like that, it was, you know, a little bit bizarre. You know, everyone had something to say about it on Twitter, and I mean, most streamers were kind of trying to avoid it as best they could. Outside of, you know, maybe 1 or 2 streams they would do where they would kind of tear down what they thought of it, albeit very diplomatically, if I may observe myself. You know, some of them who were, you know, trying not to, you know, be too inflammatory, I saw. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people have had their thing to say about it, and I think this podcast is going to be us having our thing to say about it. I mean, like we're at this situation having, you know, at different points of this issue. You know, I understand we may have some collective similar thoughts on it, but I do especially find it interesting because, you know, it's a situation which has affected us all quite differently. in some kind of way. But one thing I find it almost impossible how to start with this. But from one thing that I'll kind of kick off with, if I'll kind of run a train of thought with, is one thing I've noticed being a little bit of a kind of constant throughout any kind of communication I'm seeing, and a kind of a running theme is that people, much like kind of how you're mentioning there, Turbo, are very much struggling to get to the point where they can say riolu cheated. Now, let's be 100% clear about this. riolu cheated. It's indisputable at this point.
Yep.
riolu cheated. He cheated. How many records he cheated, we do not exactly know. There is substantial evidence out there, through all the playlists, but he did cheat. Now, there is a lot of people out there who are always like, oh, I'm not sure, but I think so. Or, it looks almost impossible that he didn't cheat. It seems so hard for people to say he cheated, and that's something that I feel has been a little bit of that kind of situation you were saying there, Turbo, where it has such a massive change from how you associate this person. You associated this person before in the same level as a kind of race hand, a Nadeo prodigy, a time attack hunting god, so to speak, from all the Nadeo tracks and solo records and all the rest of that. And then to go to the complete other side of the spectrum that he's cheating has had quite a big impact on people. And what would you guys say about what the impact has been on the community since riolu made his video?
I think the video was a pretty huge backfire. It would have been a good one if he didn't cheat. To be honest, it would have been a good video or a good statement. Let's say like that. It was fair, but even there, I could have really feel his that he was nervous. Really, he was so nervous there, and also not really sure what he should say about that. So for how I know him, of course, that is not meant in a disrespectful way. But that was okay, something is wrong, I was trusting him so much. But yeah, I think that this was this really buried him even deeper in there, and he should have dealt with this a little bit differently and just let that a bit aside, because now we're all coming to that conclusion, because I've created some cheated replays that I've seen from Wirtual that he has seen from me, and they look like mine, the inputs. They look like my times, maybe a bit slower because I played on a lower percentage of cheat engine. I don't know. My times are not even particularly good, but that was the complete wrong approach. But also, we can also argue if maybe the video from Wirtual was also a wrong approach then. What is your opinion about that? Was it just going up and just escalating, or do you think that the video from Wirtual to that statement from riolu was good or not?
I think my kind of opinion of how things have kind of, if we look at it upon a chart, it was escalating until the point Wirtual, I think, made that video. I think making that video was key because a lot of people were getting knee deep into the drama with not a fucking clue what they were talking about. I've seen, again, numerous posts online of people who are coming back then and apologizing because they just waded straight into this, either blindly supporting one of their favorite content creators. Not saying it's been either, it's been Wirtual's guys or it's been riolu's guys, but there's been so many people who have just waded straight into it, either started shit talking people or, talking about what they don't know about. And, it has been escalating until it has come to a point where it's been consolidated into something people are going to absorb. People aren't going to sit there and read through all this big fucking report. They're not, They're not going to sit and watch 100 replays from TMNF. People like me, I'll do it because I want to be educated when I do give out my opinion about it. People, who are more cautious about what they say in the community area, they're not going to talk about it. They're going to educate themselves before they talk about it. So Wirtual making a video about it, I think, made it easier for people to understand and made it easier for people to absorb, what was meant by things like spikes per second and, how the cheat was actually, affecting the game and how it was making it easier and so on and so forth. But I think it was escalating until that point. I do see that the community is still quite fractured in a way, not necessarily split in the sense that it's one side against the other, but it's much as if you take a big body blow. The bones are fractured a little bit. It will take them time to heal, and I think now that we're at the phase of consequences, so to speak, that it's going to be through the healing side of things, so to speak. But I mean, what's your thoughts kind of been about it, Shari?
The thing is, what I really think, we had to talk about this in the Queerboys as well, about the video and how we think about it. And already there we had different opinions. And I think most people definitely agree that such a video and the video itself is definitely needed, because as you said, people are idiots. Like, let's just say it like that. People are idiots. People just watch a stream from riolu, don't get anything, and just are on his side. Or in general, people just are on the side of their favorite streamer, no matter what's happening, often. At least a big portion of people. And that portion of people often is also the kind of people that just randomly harass people as well, And no one is reading that report, obviously. It's so long. I mean, we are doing that because we want to know the details, but a big portion of people just... It's too much information. It's too much for them. It's also too detailed. Yeah, it's long as well. It took me like more than half an hour to read the whole thing. And I think we all agree that the video was needed. A couple of us didn't like parts of the video and how Wirtual phrased it, and they didn't like that Wirtual put in the stream from riolu. But personally, I'm 100% okay with it. I totally think he did everything right with it. I have nothing against it. People say like, yeah, but it doesn't have to be that public, even if riolu started it with his stream. Like, he was the one starting it. He didn't, like, he had the chance to, like, at least get it civil and like just get it out there when it was pretty much, he had the evidence, right? So from his point of view, that didn't really make sense to try and continue with the lie. It didn't make sense. And if you're cheating to, like, if you're cheating to get and build yourself a public opinion for others that isn't true, then Wirtual and in general the community has every right that you're speaking about this publicly and as bigly as possible. That's just the backslash you have to accept if you're doing something like this so publicly. Like, that's just the natural response for me. I mean,
I agree. Yeah. So sorry, you wanted to say something?
Because no. I was finished with that. I think the video was great. I can't find any flaws with it. Like, maybe you can always like find some stuff here and there that you might not like or could have been phrased better. But in terms of the video, I think it was great.
Yeah, I mean, if you're biased beforehand, you always find something that you don't like. But I think just from my perspective, how Wirtual is to me when I'm speaking to him privately, and also how riolu was to him, like just this relationship between them. So my impression was that Wirtual also like didn't want to, or like he certainly didn't want to make that just because he wanted to make clicks. Of course, that is a good side effect, but of course he also supported Donadigo with that, since he put his name on there. It's the tool that Donadigo has created. Wirtual did a video and the publicity about that. And I think with the video, we could really clearly hear that Wirtual was also disappointed of maybe even losing a friend with that, I mean, they were capitalizing so much. They shared a very, very like bright Trackmania future. Wirtual grew from him. Also, riolu was capitalizing from that. So that's my opinion. I also think that the video is fine. Maybe the part where riolu was insulting him, I would have not added that, but I think else this video was good. And also, like as Shorty said, a great summary of the whole report that was coming out. And yeah, you could really hear that it's not leaving him like cold, because he's also not caring about that. I don't only want to make that video because I want to be the #1 Trackmania streamer. I think that was not the reason behind that.
Mm-hmm. I mean, one thing that has been, and it is also being brought up in the chat, one thing that has been quite a topic about this, and it's something that I'm kind of a bit divided about, is the kind of about what's been done privately and what's been done publicly. So just to kind of at least introduce this, so to speak. So some people are very critical of how this has been very publicly handled, you know, given the fact that it's involving, you know, major, you know, figures in the game, major influences on the game, how that this, you know, being such a, of such a gargantuan impact, that it maybe should have been dealt with more privately. And in some cases, you know, it has been, you know, there is some there is some replays which are suspected of cheating, which have been analysed and have been uploaded, yet their names have not been included in this report. I mean, an example, one that I caught on to was Lawrence from Trackmania 2. One of his replays was uploaded and, you know, was within the same kind of confines, you know, suspicious inputs, you know, very irregular. However, his name is nowhere to be seen. However, you know, I'm at least in a dark about how, you know, this situation moves forward in terms of any investigation or such. But before we kind of move on to that side of things, what do you guys feel about the fact that it has been dealt with more publicly? As I understand, a lot of the interaction outside of your admission to it, Turbo, was very private, and your specific instance of this, you know, of dealing with this. So, I mean, if I can get your thoughts to start off with, you know, about how you feel about that.
That it was handled publicly, right, and not privately. I think they actually kind of tried that. I mean, I was speaking to Riolu and I was offering to be the moderator of a talk between them. I was offering that, but he was like, nah, I don't want to do that. He's just blackmailing me. So he had his stubborn opinion that he just had this point of view. So that is just the insight that I can give you. So I think that is my thing that I know from that. But I think that they actually tried it. You know, they tried to do that. They tried to handle it. Not publicly, but with that report or with the speech coming out, the nail was on the coffin, and that was it. I mean, they had some contact, and I mean, I also had this tension with Wirtual because I just trusted Riolu in this way, and yeah, I just wanted to stand in for him. So it is a weird, or it was a weird situation. Let's say it like that. But I think this video didn't come out if. Yeah, this video would have not come out if they didn't try it, because they are professionals, you know? I think they would not really rush a decision to do that because they know what their actions can be. And I also said that to them beforehand, and they were probably very aware of that. So I think holding it, yeah, in private would be great, but almost impossible in this current situation because, you know, maybe Riolu also wanted it to hide. I don't know. So I don't.
Do you know if they ever intended to like release private the big report? Do you know that, or if they always intended to make report public? Because the video doesn't make a big difference. Because if the report already the report itself would have spread like a wildfire anyway.
I have no idea about that, actually. I cannot tell you that, but maybe it would have been not that like published with all the drama that has been created, because with the drama and also the statement and all those things, there were 5,000 people watching Riolu's stream, and then also the posts on Twitter, you know, it spread like a wildfire. With that, people expected something. So I think that this would be a little bit, yeah, more harmful. No, harmless. Let's say harmless. And yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, you're probably right with that, but I'm not sure if they intended it to also release it publicly or just spread it like that. I have no idea.
I just wonder, because I think that's like the main point, because we are currently talking about things being handled maybe more publicly than they should have, or for like some think that. And if you talk about it, then the video itself isn't actually of importance, because the video only came out because Riolu because of the statement of Riolu, basically. Like, his stream was the reason Wirtual had to make that video. I mean, no matter, I don't know if he would have done it anyway or not. Like, that doesn't matter. The thing is, the report itself. Like, if that would have been public, and it's public right now, even without a video, even without a statement from Riolu, it would have spread through Discord, through Twitter, through everything. People would have asked in Riolu's stream and stuff. The only point that you can make is like if they intended to make the report itself private and give it to Nadeo, for example, to investigate further. That's something you can maybe talk about. But the video itself is not of importance for that at all.
But I mean, still there would be consequences with that. I mean, there would be consequences. They were asking, yeah, why are your times done? Why is there a new record on this track now? And why are you apparently not playing in Trackmania Grand League? I mean, I think both things are not good in this way. And those questions would have come up. And also, just as the report is being released only privately, the consequences would be going into the public, and with that we had questions why you have never talked about that, why this, why that, why this, you know, you always like try to lie to us in this regard. There will be other questions then, so it's a hard decision actually.
I think it's just that definitely it has to be public at some point. I think most people just think that maybe the report itself shouldn't have been public, but like it should have been done by Nadeo instead, which
as if Nadeo would
I can sort of see, but I mean,
no, just kidding.
Do you really think Nadeo would have handled this more professionally than the report itself? I mean, it's about that, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Good question, yeah.
I mean, it is such an awkward issue when you talk about it being public versus private, because one of the things I think this hinges on is very much how Nadeo deal with it. Okay, I mean, let's think of it this way: if you want to minimize the impact that this has, then in the event it wasn't released publicly, you could quietly ban them from competitions for a year or so, for example. And, you know, you could, depending on what MX want to do, or, you know, the rest of it, how that kind of comes out. But the kind of issue I have on the other side of things, right, and this is one of the foundational things which I believe has caused quite a big issue with this, and why I do that. This is one of the plus points of it being public, in my opinion. So if we think of it this way, right, if we specify onto riolu's case, because I mean, let's be honest, not really anyone else from the report was particularly relevant anymore. I mean, you have players
Techno,
like Techno, as far as I understood, is no longer actively playing in the game. So that hence why I said he wasn't as relevant. I mean, you know, I know he was the top in United leaderboards for such a long time, but you know, we have other players there who, you know, are making small splashes. You know, they're making small splashes and they're playing in a small pond. riolu isn't that. You know, riolu is the big fish. You know, he is the primary, you know, suspect of this once, you know, things actually kind of got going, and they realized, of course, you know, the consequence of having someone like this involved in the report. So if I can kind of introduce another point to this on the other side of things, why it is I wouldn't know to say if it's a good thing it's went public, but hear me out on this. So riolu has built up a reputation by being one of the very best players on Nadeo maps. Okay, you know, if you're to look on his Twitter dashboard, you'll see all the achievements he's listed, and many of them are in regards to being at the top of ladders. You know, being at the top of United ladders, being at the top of stadium ladders. You know, world records on these sort of tracks. You know, same with Trackmania 2. You know, it's the exact same in that kind of regard. But in terms of that, if we think of that now, the awkward part of this that we haven't really brought up, and you know, I guess just because it's obvious to us, but riolu is a fantastic player. This doesn't change that. You know, riolu is one of the elite players around, and you know, a lot of people were questioning, well, if he's elite, why would he cheat? And you know, as the saying's going around now, good players don't cheat to get times they can't get, it's to get good times faster. You know, I'm paraphrasing there, I don't know the exact phrase, but it's something along those kind of lines, and that was from a speedrunning community, I believe. But what the problem I have from here, right? So riolu, of course, hasn't been streaming all these 11 years. However, if we look at someone like Race Hands, right, someone like Carrion, those are the two Demon as well, actually, Wave Demon. If you think of those kind of guys, now Race Hands, I would venture to say is entertaining, but that's subjective to me. If we look at people, specifically Carrion and Demon, who don't talk, you know, they don't provide any entertainment value other than playing, pretty much. anytime those guys will play, they will get more exposure than this podcast's even getting it now. With it sitting on 70 viewers, Kargan would be sitting on hundreds. Demon, albeit one of the, I would say, albeit an elite level Nadeo player, one of the lesser known Nadeo players outside of, his EO5 antics, from a few years ago and things like that. But he would up a stream and get hundreds of viewers. And I think riolu was able to capitalize on the fact that he had a similar level of reputation. Hans, when he streams, he would come out of the blue at 6 months and stream and he would get 600 viewers or something like that. And that's because of the reputation you associate that person with. You associate Raise Hands with being the best of the best. Like there is people out there who think the people at the top of the United and Stadium leaderboards are the best players in the world. And that's the thing. Like I used to think that, back in fucking 2008 and shit like that. I can understand it, but what I'm trying to get is that here is, well, I understand a lot of his replays have been legitimate. He has falsely gained a superior reputation by cheating to get better times or to get more great times, so that he would be at the very top of these leaderboards, so that he would be always at the top spot on these sort of things. And that's when it starts to get messy, right? That's when it starts to get messy, because of course we look at how riolu has, particularly exploded, I would say, through his involvement in Trackmania Turbo, his involvement through the later stages of Trackmania 2 Stadium. It's now, through those replays, it's suspected that he cheated his STM times that he drove for Nadeo. I'm not going to go into his, they think he's cheated this, think he's cheated that, outside of the ones that I think are important. But the whole kind of part of this, which I want to get to, is he's one of these people that gained a lot of exposure on Twitch initially by a reputation which is now shown to be, I wouldn't say completely falsified, because as we said, he is capable of running some great times, but it isn't completely legitimate. So if you're to come out and you're Nadeo, a few years down the line, he's rolled a community into where he can get thousands of viewers on his streams. He's got a massive exposure base, and we've seen what that can result in. When he refuted these claims, and then a bunch of fucking keyboard warriors went and started bashing everything online and things like that. We've seen that, in some cases people are impressionable and dealing with Trackmania, and people are more likely to believe who they favor. They're more likely to listen to someone like riolu who they like, who's their favorite streamer, over some other kind of person. But before I get too sidetracked with this, what if this was kept completely quiet and then all of a sudden Nadeo come out and say riolu's banned? How many people do you think are going to believe that without having all the evidence in front of them? And what if he then just comes back and continues streaming something else virtually unfazed, retains a lot of his exposure, retains a lot of his viewer base? I wouldn't think that's very fair, in my opinion. Now, if you believe that the kind of monolith that he's built has been kind of legitimately gained, then that's a different question. But do you guys kind of take that into consideration when you think about it being kind of public/private kind of thing? I don't know. I wouldn't like to see it kind of like here. On the other side of things, if you hadn't said anything about it, Turbo, no one would have known about it. About the fact that you'd cheated sometimes on Island.
Yeah, true. Okay, good comparison actually. So that riolu probably just confessed it in this way, else no one would have known, right?
Well, if it wasn't public, then no one would have known about it. No one would have, seen this for what it is. If I can say it like that.
Yeah, you can start, Toby, if you want. You can start, or if you.
Yeah, it's pretty easy for me to answer that. You already, Scott, you already said it's pretty lengthy, I think, and I can't really do anything with that. That's it. I think what you have to still consider definitely. He's not the popular streamer because he cheated. The thing is, people definitely tune into his stream because of knowing him, because of potentially cheated times in the leaderboard stuff. But people obviously stay in the stream because he's a good player and because they like him, right? So maybe it helped him grow quicker and get some more initial viewers. But in general, people only watch him because he's a cool guy and because he's a good player. Yeah. But in general, I think, I mean, I already said that, right? Definitely has to be public. It's what cheaters deserve, no matter how nice they are and whatever. You're not cheating privately, right? So why should it be handled in private when you're not when you're cheating publicly? It's just what happens, right? It's just the natural course of it. It just happens. It should be private. It should be public. That's how it is. That's my opinion about it. You can disagree with that, but for me, it has to be full public. The backslash has to be public. Obviously, you don't deserve to get like hated, and you don't deserve to get like harassed over anything like that. But the backslash, it's definitely to be expected in general. That's how it should be as well.
Yeah, I agree. I was in this like private decision making as well. But I mean, if you build something up of that, you just get more exposure, and with more exposure, it means that also more people will watch you. If you're the Nadeo hunter, yes, and if you're the person who is on the top of the leaderboard, and you just do that, we don't know if you would have been on the top as well without cheating. We don't know that, but of course he's a good player, as you said, Paul. He's a very great player, and he's only, he's also set WRs on stream. Yeah, of course, but the question is, would people be there? Yeah, it's a highly questionable thing, and very, very, like vague to say that, because there's not a right or wrong answer. But I mean, it's a mixture of both of your things. I think that he would have been also a famous person, or like at this point, but maybe there will be some people who were not there, or maybe he wasn't growing that fast. Because I mean, I know from my point of view, I'm maybe also to some people a very, very entertaining streamer or something. Maybe I am that, but what I had 3-4 years ago, I had my Dimidi LOL streams where I had 20 viewers. It was hard for me to get exposure. But if I was a Nadeo hunter and on the top, like, would be the same for me as for Demon, as for Raysons, as for all the other people, But I think what is going on there is that people staying at riolu's place, or were staying at riolu's place, because he was just an entertaining person and also good at the same time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I was kind of thinking about this a little bit a few days ago. Well, I've been thinking about this situation quite a lot in general. But the thing is, right, while I understand the argument that he would have still became famous, he would have still got some Twitch popularity on this, I would give comparison. Well, I would give, a comparison to someone like yourself, Turbo. Your stream's enjoyable to hang out upon. Check him out at twitch.tv LuckersTurbo. No, nothing like that. But but in what I was going to say is that I would like, just purely on content, or the entertainment value. Sorry, I wouldn't see any differences between you and riolu. In terms of that, you might have your personal taste, which will lead you to enjoying one person over another. But in terms of, but the thing that always set riolu apart was the fact that he had an X factor. He had an X factor of this reputation. Now, other people, I'll give the example of that. Massa, when he was streaming early on,
bad boy. People
would watch him because he was a lightning fast tech player, And it's the same with the other people I mentioned before. Race Hands is entertaining, but people will primarily click on his channel if they see it because they know his name. They know his name because they've seen it on leaderboards, because they've seen it on world records. Now the thing is, right?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, YouTube videos. Maybe they've seen Hiker's series where he always done the world record updates and things like that. Now, what if you took any other player out of Trackmania that's vaguely entertaining to talk to, right? Whether they stream or not, and they done the same thing, right? They got the same reputation by, say they're, capable of Nadeo world records. I suppose by the nature of the cheat, it wouldn't really matter anyway. You know, you could just run as best as you could on stream, I suppose. But I mean, in terms of that, like, what if, I don't know, what if Shorty or myself cheated for 10 years, you know, and we built a streaming career out of that because people associated us with being amazing at Nadeo maps. And I dare say if fucking Shorty spent 10 years streaming Nadeo maps, he would be getting quite a few world records legitimately, you know. You know, there's a lot of players out there who would be capable of that. And I think that the problem, well, the problem I have with the situation is that I do feel like he built a lot of his, you know, he built his initial reputation fraudulently, and as such, the association has became quite an issue. Now, the only thing I'll say to chat is, please don't fucking grill Phoebe with questions every time she's here. Phoebe might be from Nadeo, but Phoebe is not going to be telling you all the inner workings of Nadeo. She's not going to be telling you all you need to know about what Nadeo are going to do. I know Phoebe will say it's all right, but, you know,
can be annoying.
Give her a break, guys. But here's another thing, right? And this was something I'd spoken to you a little, just a little bit, but fucking someone ban alcohol doll. Anyway, but see, here's a question, right? Now that this is one I spoke to Turbo about before. You know, I haven't actually mentioned the question itself, but one thing which did make me feel very, very uncomfortable about the situation for everyone who was involved in it. That goes for people like Riolu, Lance, Neko, Techno, yourself, you know, anyone else that gets outed within this scandal, if you'll call it as dramatically like that. One of the biggest problems I have with it is people who have only been cheated, and this becomes specifically into your situation as well, Turbo. And I want to get your thoughts on it, and it will not necessarily to specifically put you on the spot, but I was talking with Eirik about this as well. I mean, he won't be able to comment because he's banned, but
play
a timeout, people, not ban them. But yeah. Anyway. So one of my biggest problems about this, right, and I've not really seen anyone mention this, which has made me feel quite uncomfortable. It made me feel especially uncomfortable because I was watching your stream live when you admitted to this. I considered me and Eirik to be one of the most connected people in Trackmania, right? He knows a lot that's going on. I know a lot that's going on, you know, through my roles in podcasts, you know, as part of tournament orgs, you know, teams. Like I've got a lot of connections in Trackmania. Eirik's got a lot of connections in Trackmania. We didn't have a fucking clue this thing existed. We didn't have a clue anyone cheated. We didn't have a clue this cheat engine was this cheat was even possible. We had a clue about nothing of this, but the main problem I have with this is not one person revealed this existence before this report came out. You know, it came to me completely by surprise that I know people have cheated in different kind of ways before. You know, in the video it was Sean Strobar, or whatever the fuck his name was, the RPG guy. Also, a lesser known one, which Shorty actually told me about a few years ago, was Zerko from the old BXC player. I've still got that video saved somewhere.
Me as well.
Yeah. So there has been players that have cheated before, but I mean, I won't put you on the spot about the Turbo because I think that's pretty unfair. But the thing is, for this, I have a very big problem with the fact that, you know, people will come out and admit to it, and that's fine. You know, now is the time for healing. Definitely, now is the time to move forward with this. But I mean, what do you guys think about the fact that this did go completely unknown until last week, pretty much, that this was even possible, that this was even done? I mean, the only comparison I can think of this would be the CSGO cheating bug, when, you know, a fucking waves upon waves of coaches were getting banned. A few of them had messaged Valve directly, but no one had made it publicly aware that the fact that this even existed. I mean, I know there's two parts of this, but I want to kind of get your guys' thoughts on it. What do you think about that?
I mean, it's
I got a better comparison.
But one thing, I would just want to add one thing. It's good because then you know that you can trust those people, that it's not going to the public. But at your point.
Yeah, it's very important. It's a very important point. It has to be. I have a better comparison. The better comparison. No, wait for it, okay? Wait for it. It actually makes sense. Better comparison is actually like this new found shortcut that was hidden in plain sight for so many years. No, it literally is like the same thing, you know. It's something maybe a couple of people thought about. I mean, I definitely know that a couple of people definitely thought maybe someone like Techno is slowing down the game, and a couple of people might have even like tried it out themselves. And yeah, it's probably something you just assumed it might be possible, that might not be possible, and you just like you're just like. Yeah, no, probably not. And you just go by your day and just ignore it for, you know, I don't know. That's pretty much how it goes, right? It's always easy to say afterwards, oh yeah, this was so obvious, but that's just how it goes, right? You just always, it's even though it's obvious, often the obvious things are the things you just miss. Yeah, that's my point.
Yeah. I mean,
it's a weird comparison, but it kind of works, to be honest.
I think, it's the biggest drama in Trackmania, and keeping that secret for that point is probably a good thing, but also very scary, especially as you've mentioned that you didn't get any wind of that. You know, I knew that beforehand, and it was hard for me to not talk to like some people who don't know about that, just like open on stream and just ask people for the opinion, because you just had to pretend that everything is okay. And then also people were like, yeah, like talking to riolu, like, yeah, Wirtual is a good guy and blah. And now he literally, like, he didn't destroy his career, but, you know, he has published it, you know, and was one, or maybe is the reason why this has been public. But Donadigo, of course, has found this tool to analyze a replay from a player. He has done the story in the stream, and it was just bad luck. It was really bad luck, but I mean, yeah, I think it's good, but and bad on one and another part that it was held privately. But I think with more publicity at the beginning, it could have prevented like this, yeah, like this talk, and maybe also like maybe help the relationship between riolu and Wirtual in this regard, because then both of them would maybe be like, yeah, okay, we have this situation now, the public knows, and we need to behave. We need to behave like professionals and not like be public, like really, like just not being handled appropriate there. You know, maybe you get the point there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely agree with the fact it's not been dealt with appropriately, and I would certainly give credit to you being the polar opposite of how this was dealt with, in the sense that, you know, you did come forward once the report was published, and you know, you dealt with it in the right way. Now, let me also introduce a point, you know, straight from that, which also gives me trouble when I think about this, you know, and it is directly related to, you know, when you came out with it, when you came out in terms of the reaction to that, right? Now, if anyone wasn't there, you know, when Turbo had done his stream and the likes of that, it was met with, you know, some people were asking questions. A lot of people were kind of one thing I did notice was an overwhelming outcry of support for you. A lot of subs, a lot of bits, a lot of, you know, this, that, and the next thing. Now, I appreciate that because you done it the right way, albeit, you know, I would have preferred you came out and told it was possible back when you found out it was possible, but that's my personal take on it.
Yeah,
you know?
Good point.
You know, like that's the point I was getting at earlier, in a sense, but you still dealt with it the right way, and that's what's important. However, I would say that's fair for you because you tried it on a few maps, non-consequentially, if we'll say it like that. You know, it wasn't world records. You just tried it in a few island maps fucking 6 years ago, completely different part of your life. And that's that. Now, if riolu done the same thing, he, instead of, you know, coming out and fucking shit in the bed, right? If riolu done the same thing, although riolu has cheated, he cheated his TMNF records, he cheated his TMUF records, again, not all of them, just to make that clear. TMUF records, cheated TM2 records, he cheated He's fucking he got the. I find it laughable. He got Trackmania Turbo early and he cheated on it, right? He cheated his STMs. He cheated some of his world records for Trackmania Turbo. And, as part of his 200 world records climb, which was so widely acclaimed, he won awards for that. Albeit, we've kind of laughed at how the awards don't really mean anything. But from that, if he came out with it, right, as Player said, a decade of cheating, he came out with it. He dealt with it in the same way as, he apologised. He was very humble about it. He dealt with it in the correct way, right? And he got the same reaction as because I could imagine this happening for riolu. If all this video didn't come out, if all this information wasn't made so public, then he would come back and he would get hundreds and hundreds of subs. He would get thousands and thousands of bits because people are so happy to see him back because they're either, if they just blindly support him or something like that. And that thought, albeit it might not happen like that, but I entertain that as a possibility, and that makes me very uncomfortable. The fact that someone who could make such a monumental fuck up and be so habitual in their cheating. It's not just been a few replays, it's been hundreds of replays and very important replays. I feel very uncomfortable with that. And the only reason that came into my head was when I saw the reaction to you coming out with it. As everyone coming in with their subs, everyone coming in with their bits. And that really disgusted me a little bit, I appreciate the fact that, not everyone's in the same boat as riolu. But what do you guys think about that? Because, I mean, I see that happening even now. If he does come back, he's going to get people witch hunting him, but he's also going to get people coming back and fucking throwing money at him because now he's lost his sponsor and shit like that. And I think, I don't know, it just makes me very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I know. I also made me very uncomfortable when I had just a level 5 hype train because that was definitely not my intention. But I get your point, and I mean, how he dealt with it, I cannot agree more with you. Like that, it was such well formulated from you. Actually, it was great to see that. But it also gave me a weird chill there, like just some goosebumps. Like, oh man, he had the playlist, he had all the 200 or 300 rounds that were included in the report, and he still decided to make that statement. He had the opportunity to confess to it, even though it has, of course, like a way bigger impact, or had a way bigger impact with WRs and all those things that were in there. But I think also with that, he would have let it come clean with that somewhat, to just stand to that and be like honest about that and not lying over it. And I think that is this couldn't go any worse for him with that statement. That is my opinion about it, because you have seen it in my stream, and I think with his stream he would have gotten an astronomical amount more of viewers, and maybe even people like, oh man, the situation is way more critical in his way then. So that's my opinion about it. And yeah, well formulated, Paul.
Yeah, that's just how streaming works, though, sadly. I mean, a lot of people just follow you no matter what you do in streaming, and even if you fuck up, and even if you fuck up badly, then they just don't potentially not really care about it. I mean, even if it would have come clean, I definitely think, I mean, we already know it from Bergie, not of it would have cut ties with him anyway. Makes sense, obviously. Not sure about what Nadeo is going to decide or not decide, but probably even that decision from Nadeo that we are still awaiting right now would not be changed because of it. The only thing that would have changed definitely is that it would have been better received, probably, so the backslash wouldn't have been as hard. Maybe it wouldn't even have changed that, who knows, but no matter what, sadly at least, obviously he shouldn't lose everything because of this, but yeah, his stream, even if he comes back right now, it probably wouldn't have, like, his streaming numbers would skyrocket, would definitely get a lot of money out of it, like you already said, Scotsman. That's definitely kind of disgusting if you think about it like that, but that's sadly probably the case, but can't really do anything against that, sadly.
Yeah. In Exotica, albeit I've noticed your points have been very much sided towards one camp, if you don't mind my saying. Your opinion seems to be rather strong, but did bring up a point there which I did actually forget I was wanting to talk about, and it's how this is not just became, and I know we talk about this drama in terms of the cheating, and it has primarily focused on rielu, but I think a lot of you guys would agree with me that the main, like, if this report got released without rielu, and not a lot of people would give a fuck. You know, it would be a 20-minute topic. You guys would want us to then go and talk about fucking Solary Cup or something. You know, that's the way it would be. Like, but you know, as a result of rielu being part of it, it's became so much a bit of a bigger topic. Now, something I wanted to bring into this. Now, just to be clear in terms of how I bring this up, it's by no means a reflection of the fact that I think he's a bad player. I think he's bad at some of the other roles he's done in Trackmania. But I think this is a very good point. And it's one I'd thought about myself, but again, forgot about because there's so many parts to this, right? Now, with what I was saying previously about the reputation, I mean, you know, fucking ran that point into the ground. What I think is the reason why it is so important about the cheated replays. I mean, I know you made a big point in Turbo about the replays you'd done, that they weren't consequential. You know, they were random Nadeo tracks. It wasn't even particularly amazing times. It wasn't going to shake the world apart. It's not as if, you know, it was world records and you were specifically gaining that much more from it. It was, you know, a few extra ladder points, right? Now, really,
still, I think even this is, I would be fine if there would be consequences, actually, to be honest, because I stand to that. And I cheated. That is not correct. And if there are consequences, I accept them because I regret my decision. I did the statement, and it's just completely wrong to cheat. That's the dot behind that.
Yeah, for sure. And as we said, that's just a kind of another reason why you've dealt with it the right way. You know, you accept the consequences. You've came out and dealt with it, but enough of me sucking you off. On to the point I was wanting to make. The thing about this, right? Now, it's not just been that he's got a big reputation, he's got more money in streaming, which is true. That has happened. You know, he's got more money than he would have had without cheating. That's undisputably true. But let's look at it from another way, right? Now, we've just seen at the moment that Wirtual has been announced as the caster for Trackmania World Cup. Now, I guarantee you that would not have happened if he wasn't popular. Now, this isn't then to say that it's a bad thing that he's been picked. Not at all. You know, Wirtual's a good caster. I don't think he's the greatest. I think I've made that clear in our previous podcasts. But the reason he has been picked is because he has a massive amount of exposure. That's relatively clear, I think, to a lot of people who care about that, right? Now, we look back and think about how rielu, after Spam stopped casting things, what would you call it? Around about 2015, 2016, right? Spam stopped casting things 2016, and all of the, like, whenever you would have a tournament organizer, they would primarily want someone like rielu. Well, rielu was the only option at that time. They would want rielu to come in and cast their final because he had a massive amount of exposure. So as such, that snowball keeps turning. Now, from that, he then got bigger and bigger gigs as a result of having a massive exposure. Now, here's the thing, right? Now, if you can imagine an alternate situation where rielu didn't cheat, and he didn't have, like, say, I don't know, you bring down his level of exposure, his Twitch viewers, by whatever percentage you deem fit, do you believe he would have still got linked up with Nordavind? Do you believe he would have still been invited to TMGL, which has been a crucial part of a lot of these people's growth?
Good point.
You know, I mean, let's look at it this way, right? A lot of these streamers' careers, I think of Massa as a prime example, have exploded as a result of Trackmania Grand League. Wirtual's benefited from it. Spam's benefited greatly from it. You know, what's his name? Riolu himself has benefited greatly from it. But if he didn't have that same level of exposure, if he didn't have that same reputation, I argue it's very likely that he would not have been directly invited to Trackmania Grand League, which would have a major consequence on what level he would be at now. And as such, someone else would then be in that place. So, I mean, what do you guys think about that?
Yeah, I mean, just to think about that, if you're thinking about the 2016, 2017, maybe to 18, 19 times, riolu has built up a reputation about that. And it is highly questionable if he would have been invited to that. Yeah, it's a good point. But, I mean, he has proven that he's a good player. I mean, again, it's very, 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 very vague to say that. But I think it would be harder, let's say like that, because he had that reputation, let's say like this. But I don't exclude this opinion or this opportunity that he didn't go into Nolament, you know? That he weren't in Nolament, let's say like that. My God.
You don't really like that train of thought, to be honest, because talking about this doesn't really get us anywhere. Because yes, it's a valid point. You can definitely argue that, but we just don't know. Basically, as Kai said, definitely he's a good player anyway, and based on that already, maybe it would have not made such a big difference. It's just something we don't know, and talking about it like that, and even talking about the potential. Like talking about the potential of it is just not really getting us anywhere, I think.
Yeah.
That's fair.
It's not really beneficial.
But I get your point. I get your point, Paul. It's a good one.
It's valid.
It's very valid because he was casting, and you're tying the shoe like that. You know, he has built up popularity with his records. Started streaming, got into the casting. And then he got this reputation that he got from that beforehand, and also the massive like follower numbers and viewer numbers to eventually go and become a pro and get that Nolament contract. I think that's what is the long story short to that, right? Or did I misunderstand that?
Essentially, yeah. I mean, it's been the base that started the snowball down the hill, you know, and it's went from peak to peak after that.
Yeah. Good point, though.
Yeah, it's just sad.
Because, I mean, like, I think of it this way, right? Now, I don't recall this exactly off the top of my head, but if I remember correctly, when they were doing after the beta season and they were inviting the large majority of the players in, other than those who qualified at the very top, there was some players who were very close to getting in that, you know? Cappuccino, who finished 9th in the beta season, if I do remember correctly, only just missed out knocking out Kappa, who was the eventual winner of that, misses out. You know, you have an alternate... and Cap still is not part of the Trackmania Grand League following that. Imagine what he could have then gone and done, you know. And I get what Shorty's saying. There is one of these, you know, we could talk about one of these, you know, situations that could have happened that didn't, and you know, we could talk about those for hours when we talk about all these different ones. But I do definitely see what you say about you know, not being so productive, shall we say. But I do think it is definitely, do you know, one of the things that I think it makes it important to talk about is it gives you a sense of perspective about how important this situation is.
Good point. Yeah,
it's not just the fact that some random guys cheated and all he's gained is a few leaderboard times. You know, it is different in this kind of case. You know, that's just the way it is at the moment. But I mean, I don't think there's really at least that much more to say in terms about that side of things. I think, you know, in terms of dealing with the topic, the only kind of fair place that we can really go into from here is the discussion about consequences.
I wanted to bring that up as well. Exactly that point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you wanted to bring it up. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, so consequences. That is so my introduction was, we got the objective part with all us maybe understanding. I mean, the biggest proof of him cheating is the online versus offline record. I mean, come on, guys, those inputs. Yeah, you can steal like that. You can do that, but then you cannot control your car. I mean, you can have some fishy inputs like Roa, but I think it's 99.9% clear. And I also understood that over the time that riolu is or was cheating. You know, that is 99.9% clear. I would be surprised, actually, sorry to say that, if he brings up a statement where he has proven his innocence. But yeah, what will happen? Can we expect a statement from him this week, next week, in 1 month, in maybe never? Is he streaming again? Is he casting again? I mean, he lost the Nolavin contract, but is he still in Trackmania Grand League? That is also a question, because, I mean, this is a franchise league, you know, that means that the spot is belonging to the organization. But is riolu now still in the Trackmania Grand League? But I think he's out on there. That is my take to it. But what happens to his social media and stuff like that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, because like you know, Shorty was saying a lot there, that, you know, the community does feel like a kind of place where there will be people that will, you know, you'll like that. This is a really wild example, and, you know, it's not really that I really want to bring into Trackmania, so to speak. But I recall there was a RuneScape streamer, an old school RuneScape streamer, who came out over the course of a few months and claimed that she had cancer. Now, following on, now I'm not saying what riolu has done is, you know, comparable to faking cancer. Let's make that absolutely clear. But following this happening, she claimed she had cancer, and it later got outed that she, in fact, never had it, and as such, she done this essentially to get attention, to roll it into exposure. Now, made a very big mistake, but still streams, still gets a very large amount of exposure, still gets people coming onto her streams, giving her shit, oh, blah, 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 you fake cancer, this, that, and the next thing, right? So, still gets witch hunted, but also gets the people who will say there and claim it's false, or will still support her regardless, you know. And that's the only kind of streaming instant that I can really equate to this situation, in the sense of how I feel this could happen in Trackmania. You know, riolu could come back, and he's still going to have maybe not a large majority, but I'd say a majority of his viewer base still. He will still have people witch hunting him, but he will have people who will come on and say that, oh, you know, we knew it was never true, or whatever, or, you know, we still support you anyway, even though you fucking cheated for 11 years and all the rest of that kind of stuff. And yeah, I mean, I said before that it makes me feel very uncomfortable, but I mean, in terms of the but yeah, it's difficult now. We talk about consequences as a thing. I mean, what do you think's the next step for him as a streamer, Shorty? Do you imagine him coming back to this kind of fanfare, so to speak, or do you think the damage has already been done? Or
I don't know if he actually wants to come back. I mean, as he already said it, I mean, it's difficult to compare, because we are partly talking about it because Trackmania now is more of an esports game, definitely, with the Grand League. But just looking at his streams and as a stream itself, then if he wants to come back, I think, as you said it's definitely possible. He would definitely have people supporting him. He would definitely probably still get good views and good subscription numbers. But I just wonder if he is the kind. You have to be the kind of person that is also able, like, to be on the witch hunt, because, as you said, you will always have a couple of people always, like, writing in the chat, and even though they are gonna get banned within, like, a couple of seconds or so, it's still gonna, like, always be there, you know. And that's something he would probably have to live with it. And if he can do that, then he can definitely still stream successfully, probably as well. But that's just talking about the stream. I mean, I think more important, actually, because, like, you can't really control people on streams and stuff, and I don't even want to. Stream is just it's a social media, right? If someone likes you, then they like you. That's how it is. You can't really change that, or it's hard to change. What more important is what is going to happen with the TMGL, I think. Or at least I personally care more about that.
Yeah,
true.
I mean, it is the big question as to what is then the consequences that are going to happen. I mean, a lot of people have floated a lot of different kind of ideas around, you know, whether it's going to be that he'll just get his things deleted, whether it will be that, you know, that he would lose his Nordivan contract, or that he would lose this, or he would get banned from that. You know, there's a lot of different things being floated around. We have, of course, since seen that he has then since been dropped by Nordivan, you know, as through Bergie's AMA done on someone's Discord. I think it was Spam's Discord. Then he did say that, you know, Nordivan has a 0% tolerance with cheating, you know, and Nordivan dropped him. You know, he went into a bit more detail about, you know, what it was, you know, what happened specifically, you know, without going into too much detail, so to speak. But I mean, the problem is going forward, right now. I'm not the kind of person who's going to feel overtly sympathetic to the person in question if they don't deal with it in the right way. However, what the thing is, right? If riolu doesn't come back, then this was his living. You know, this, you know, streaming and being paid by Nordivan was his living. He was gaining thousands of euros a month by doing this. You know, and that's a very sizable thing to walk away from. So I'm not entirely sure if he will end up doing it, because, you know, maybe he won't be able to. You know, I don't know how true this is, but people are mentioning that he stopped his studies or whatever. But, you know, I personally don't know if he does have something else lined up that he could just simply say, you know what, this situation's got really toxic as a result of what's happened. I'm just going to leave it be. You know, I'm just going to move on. I'm going to take myself into my next world, so to speak, of work or fucking whatever. It might not be possible in his current situation. You know, it has came very abruptly. I mean, even if he had advance warning of it through what's his name? Yeah, through Wirtual contacting him directly.
Name.
That's the name you forgot.
Yeah. No one's big enough for me to forget their names. Let me just put it that way. But yeah, I mean, it's a question of how, not necessarily, because I see the Berserker. It's not as if I'm just saying that because he's lost his streaming, his life's now over. Like, I mean, unless he's been living month to month kind of thing. But it's the thing that I say is how he's going to see the situation, you know, and because we're talking about the consequence, whether or not he's going to be moving forward from this or not. But before we kind of transgress too much, if you guys were judge, jury, and executioner, what would you've been handed all the information, you've been handed his statement about it, you've been handed the video about it. You were in control of Nordivan, you're in control of what Nadeo do, what MX do. You can do whatever you want. What would you guys do?
Exclude him from Trackmania Grand League.
Is that all?
Well, he
not that I'm saying that you should do more. Just
he can still stream, but that's of course what he can do. But exclude him from Trackmania Grand League, and I mean, they should know riolu in this way, that he is a person who overthinks things, you know. But yeah, I mean, just talk about it, because I literally just thought about the things you said. Again, this personal side, and yeah, it's literally making me really sad, because, you know, I know him so good, and I just hope that he's fine, because I also didn't hear a lot from him, and I also feel very disappointed as a friend. But yeah, just keep going, Toby. I'll just come in later.
Yeah. So what I would definitely do, I wonder if you would. He definitely has to go out of Grand League. I'm just not sure if you should actually ban him from Grand League forever, or just for like a couple of years, because I'm not really sure about that. To be honest, what we also don't really know is did he cheat in GM 2020 as well? Because the tool isn't able to like check those replays. I mean, we can assume it, or we could assume it, but we basically don't know. And that's maybe also a thing, because you could think about like banning his accounts in the games where he cheated for like 1 or 2 years, and then if he wants to come back and hunt again, then he can do that if he wants to. And if he also cheated in TM 2020, that would mean he can definitely still stream, but he would, in theory, not be allowed to stream the game for like 1 year or so, which is definitely a reasonable thing to do from Nadio's point of view. They have every right to do that. And with Uplay and stuff, they can also make sure, because of his stream, that he is not just creating a second account. That wouldn't be allowed either. So if they want to, they could seriously mess him up, because I can't really... We talked about him potentially streaming successfully, but if you think about it, if Nadio would suspend his account for like 1 or 2 years, then what would he stream?
Yeah.
So can he still be a successful streamer without being able to stream Trackmania, which is definitely something that could potentially happen. If he also cheated in Trackmania 2020 in the leaderboards, I mean, just deleting his times and saying, yeah, okay, don't do it again, is could be done. I mean, kicking him out of TMGL is already a really big punishment. But still, I think the people like Race Hunts or other Nadeo hunters might not feel satisfied if he's just able to just instantly continue hunting. You know, that's what I'm thinking about. So potentially, you would definitely have to like not allow him to hunt for a specific time, or maybe forever. Not sure. I mean, he did cheat for 11 years after all. So not sure what you would do with that.
But yeah, I mean, one thing that also is probably an important thing if you want to have a verdict about that, let's say, like, or a judgment, is that he didn't confess it. He didn't confess it, and he waited till it came out. He had the opportunity. And that's eventually that makes me a bit sad, you know, that he still wanted to, like, yeah, I'm not cheating, I get blackmailed, and putting him in that he is like the one who's attacked and did everything correct, and that the other guy's doing it wrong. That is also one thing that is, like, at the end of the day, really, really, yeah, like, bad to see. And with that in mind, there should be consequences. I think if he would have handled it differently, maybe then it could have been better for him, you know, in this regard, that he had, like, just confessed to that. Like me, of course, you cannot compare me with him, because my replays were not, like, really good, were not, like, I didn't build anything up of that, but I still would be up for the consequences. And I'm not sure if he was at this state 1 week ago. I'm not sure about that.
I kind of disagree with you.
Okay.
Yes, it should change. Yes, it should be different. But what I think, the consequences should be exactly the same, maybe a bit milder. So let's say right now Nadir would decide, yeah, let's ban his accounts for 2 years. Then because he came out, maybe they would reduce it to 1 or 1.5 years. I can agree with that, but the consequences itself, like the kind of consequences, should definitely be the same. Like, just because you're sorry about it, and just because you handled it. Yeah, no, not for me. I don't fucking care about that. Like, not at all. I mean, yes, it makes me like you more, and yes, but it doesn't change anything you did. He did cheat for 11 years. It doesn't change anything. Just because he said he's sorry, and even if it's believable, and even if you can feel him being sorry about it, that definitely should reduce his punishment, but it shouldn't change it, you know?
Yeah, but reducing is changing in this regard.
Yeah, okay, but you know what I mean. Like, you know what I meant. Okay, I basically mean it should reduce it, but it shouldn't change the kind of punishment. You know.
But look what he started with. That he really, like, pointed the finger to Wirtual and saying, yeah, you did that wrong. Yeah, of course you can say it's punishment enough that I lied to friends. I mean, also to us, Toby. He also lied to us, you know, with not being clear
definitely,
about that. And also, like, going to the public. But I think that this is punishment enough, but still he is like, yeah, I didn't do anything wrong, or he had the opportunity. And with that, I think there should be a punishment, maybe not that a different one, but maybe a bigger one. Let's say, let's not exclude him from Trackmania granting for 2 years, but for 3 years, you know, or some other things. I have no idea. I'm not the one who decides that, fortunately, not unfortunately, fortunately, because I would not like to, do that. definitely.
I think I would agree with him more if it wouldn't be coming out with the investigation. Like if he would have come out by himself without an investigation and everything, that would have changed things dedefinitely, like really drastically.
He had the chance to do
but,
that.
Yeah, he had the chance, but he only had the chance when they pointed a gun at his head. Oh, you're a cheater. Please confess now. That's something completely different than you out of your own mind. You think maybe I should stop it. Maybe I should confess. It's something completely different. I mean, basically, yes, he got the chance to do it, but it's not the same. You know, it's not the same as if I decide, oh yeah, I cheated for 11 years. I'm sorry. I decided it's stupid and I should tell you. But that wasn't the case, right? Basically, riolu, Wirtual and Donaldigo found out he's cheating, and then they're like, yo, maybe you should confess, dude. That's something different. Like, really different.
Yeah, but it was handled privately firstly, and then he still had the chance. That is my opinion about that. It's great that we have different opinions here and we can discuss a bit. But I think that this really started something. But maybe, Paul, you want to add something?
I was just going to say, I mean, I think you both are not necessarily disagreeing with each other, just about different parts. I mean, with Shorty saying, you know, I do definitely agree with that. If he did want leniency specifically, then it would have had to have been a confession that wasn't forced. Now, I don't mean forced as in that you're making someone say something, but if I was to put myself in your position, Turbo, right? I've got two options when I find out that, or riolu's case, you know, since, you know, if we're taking his specific case into account. If I'm to put myself in his shoes, I know I've got two options when I find out someone. Wirtual's came to me and says, I've found, you know, a playlist full of your cheated replays. I either stand up and admit it or I get knocked the fuck out. That's my two options, right? I stand up and I say, yes, I done it, blah, blah, blah. Come out and dealt with it the way you did. There is some positivity to be gained there. There is some face you can save there. However, you still have that taint of the fact that, you know, you've had to have someone come up to you and say, we know you're cheating and we are making a report about it. You know, that's what I mean by a forced confession, so to speak. Because in that instance, as I said, you either stand up and you admit it and you try and save your face, or you go the way he did, and as I said, you get knocked the fuck out. You know, that's just the way it is. Like like he chose to go out, you know, the wrong way, pretty much, and that's how he's kind of dealt with it. And that's why I would even have a problem if he even confessed it after being approached by Wirtual about this. If he'd then come forward, even before this report existed, if he came forward last year and says, guys, got something to tell you, I've been cheating for 10 years. No one knows about this. However, that's how I done it. Here's proof of it, blah, blah, blah. There you go, right? Then,
yeah, good point.
Then leniency can be discussed. Then leniency can be deserved, because not only have you admitted to mistakes you have made steps to fix those mistakes you have made. Right? Not this, you're being proactive instead of reactive. Because if like, this is why I had such a big problem with the fact no one came out with this before you know, being contacted about the report, as if this, say he'd realized in 2011 or 2010 that you could do this, and he came out and says, made a big deal of it and says, by the way, guys, do you know that you could submit times that you've driven at fucking 10% speed, and you're essentially tassing yourself, you know? Do you know you can do this? And I guarantee you it wouldn't have been 10 years until this situation got properly addressed. You wouldn't have had 10 years worth of fucking people cheating. You know? That's the way I see it. If this was dealt with earlier from the people who knew you could cheat earlier, then this would have been dealt with earlier. Either it would have been patched if that's possible. I mean, we've seen a competitive patch now coming out in TM Nations, whatever the fuck it is, same thing. I don't care. But this is now the response to the fact that we now know that's possible. That's how I feel about it. Leniency only comes when you've been proactive about the situation, not reactive. So I do feel you're both kind of agreeing with each other there, although I've just kind of went into a different tangent there. But yeah, I get the points where you guys are both coming from on that. But that's the way I kind of feel about that.
So, I could have saved the world, actually, or the Trackmania scene by just approaching. But actually, so what my thinking was there, that no one is using it. I thought no one is using it, and that's why I wanted to keep it secret for that. But, you know, I was also having no, like, intention of doing it because, dude, I was trying out Stadium with that cheat engine thing. It's so dude, it's fucking terrible to drive. I have no idea how you can drive Stadium with that. So I wasn't even considering that. There were some maps on the solo mode. I mean, also we have the times on Island A2, Island A5, then also some, I think one rally map, and then I think 1 or 2 bay maps, and this coast map there. So maybe it's even 6 replays, maybe 5. I have no clue. I mean, those times are not from significance, but some maps work, but some maps were absolutely terrible. So you must be a very good player to do that. And I had no idea to do that. I had no intention to publish it because I thought that you can compete or like do that without cheats, and those records are not cheated. To be honest, that was my approach from that. But actually, I wanted to say something else. Okay, yeah, the proactive and reactive thing. Yeah, so what I did when Wirtual told me that is with the cheating, I was like, yeah, I also use cheat engine. I was being the part who is just confessing it, even though I was not considered a cheater, you know? That's what I did, and that's probably why I was not included in the report.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I the whole situation's kind of made me feel uncomfortable. And I mean, since you guys both gave your thoughts about it, I mean, me personally, I'm kind of following the standpoint from a lot of other games. You cheat in CSGO, you get banned. You cheat in League of Legends, you get banned. You cheat in pretty much any other major game out there, you get banned. In my opinion, he gets banned. He should get banned from the game. He should get banned from the game. The time, I wouldn't really be able to say specifically. At the very least 1 year. In someone's case where they've not been... Because the case with riolu is so extreme. Like, it's mind-boggling to think, if you're to imagine the scale of someone cheating in Trackmania, you have the very, very minimum when you had the likes of Artishow, yourself. I don't know if Artishow was cheating, just to be clear, but he only had a few replays on there. Yourself, Turbo, 6 replays at max, all in a confined period of time, not necessarily impactful. That is very much on the lower scale. Cheating throughout every game in TM, cheating in some of the most important ways possible, as in getting STMs, getting yourself world records, and also, I mean, some of these he's made videos about runs that he's cheated to get. He's made, you know, accomplishments out of things he's cheated to get, you know, 200 world records and so on and so forth, you know, all fucking Laguna Valley world records or some fucking random shit like that. I don't know. I don't have his Twitch dashboard in front of me, but he is at the absolute other extreme of the cheating spectrum. He is cheated as badly as it could possibly be. That's the way I see it. And as such, if you are in the case of the people who are, you know, the judge, jury, and executioner, you are in that camp where you say, okay, the people who only cheated a tiny bit get whatever our lowest punishment is. But riolu gets our maximum. riolu is in the maximum punishment boundary. That is how bad it is. Honestly, I mean, I don't feel like I don't feel like I even have to emphasize that a little much. I mean, I'm sure you guys understand it. It literally could not be worse. You know, the only reason it's not any worse is because we don't know if he cheated in Trackmania 2020.
We don't know, yeah. And
you can't get away with really cheating online. People see that. That's how other players get caught out. I mean, if I'm correct, Shorty, that's how Zerko got caught out, is because he was cheating online.
Yeah, Zerko was cheating online.
Yeah. So,
I mean, basically, just at one point he just overdid it. But yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, sooner or later you slip up when you're doing it online. So at least for what he could get away with, he was almost as bad as possible. So, in my opinion, he gets the worst punishment that Nadeo would then deem necessary, or whoever it is, MX then deem necessary, Trackmania Grand League then deem necessary. That's how I feel about it.
I mean, I definitely agree with that. The thing is, if you actually think about it, considering, I mean, yes, cheating online and cheating in esports might be worse, maybe not, because considering about the videos and the monetary gain he got with that, the popularity on YouTube, Twitch in general, then if this is the worst you can do in cheating in Trackmania, then you can't get banned for 1 year only. That's that's not enough at all. If this is the worst you can do, then the worst is only 1 year punishment, then hell yeah. So,
it's not defined what the punishment is.
Yeah, definitely.
Because Nadeo didn't know about that you can cheat in this game. I mean, was for them out of the blue. And I think I think Nadeo would be up for this investigation, but only if they have this tool already and then just analyze those inputs. But I mean, it was a third party that implemented and delivered the replays and also the report, and that's something else. So Nadeo has to deal with that, and whatever the punishment will be, if he gets banned from every franchise of Trackmania, if he can still play Trackmania but is excluded from competitions, we cannot decide it. We don't know. We have no idea. And also what my punishment is, no idea. Maybe there will be one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean,
what I think Nadeo is like what Nadeo. I mean, Heides already said they are investigating themselves, and most likely Nadeo. I mean, they own the game. They developed it. They got means to look into the replays in different ways than people with third-party tools can, and most likely they are gonna only punish people based on their own findings and maybe not even any of the third-party tools findings, because I think someone already in chat wrote it, and it's difficult to agree with that for me, although I do. Do we have proof? Do we have actual proof that they cheated? I mean, it's humanly impossible input, but can you call that proof? No, that's you don't have like a checkbox. The game tells you yes, it was slowed down. Check. Or something like that, That is basically what Nadeo is probably trying to do themselves right now, so they can have like 100% full proof about it, and then can make decisions based on that, instead of being like, yeah, I mean, we kind of have to trust and try to guess the line what's humanly possible and what's not. That's kind of a difficult topic in itself, maybe a bit.
Yeah, I think it is a really difficult topic, and I must be honest that as much as it's something which you don't often hear from members of the community, and I mean, least of all myself, for anyone who's kept on top of the podcasts and past, I do sympathise for Nadeo, and I do definitely feel like the way forward in this is to just kind of now all the cards are on the table for what we know has happened. Now it's time to just take a step back and let Nadeo deal with it. You let the punishment be dealt out and move forward. Like one thing I did say previously, which I do think is very important, because not because I feel like I have some responsibility, but I also think it's an important thing for the community in general, is this is now the healing period. We've had a big fracture by the fact that we've had a momentous incident, but now like someone said, that a lot of Trackmania is built upon trust. Trust that the other person is doing the right thing. And especially crucially in the case of offline hunting. I mean, I think back to how toxic the full speed scene was in like 2017, 2018, when a large majority of the top scene of full speed was convinced that Mudda was cheating.
True.
I think back to how toxic that was. You had full top tier teams who were convinced he was cheating. a lot of members of the full speed community were convinced he was cheating. And it just goes to show how bad this situation can get if we don't concentrate on how we move forward from this together, you know? Now, I don't know what punishment riolu is going to get going forward. I think at the very least, he has been punished already with the fact he now has a significant stain on his image going forward. Whether that's punishment enough, I've already told you guys, you know, my punishment would be different. However, it's now in Nadeo's hands, and it's now nothing really to do with us. It's, you know, I mean, Shorty said it before, you know, we've been asked about this pretty much non-stop since it came out. What would we think about it? Now we focus on how we then move forward from this, you know. Now's not the time where you start fucking harassing Phoebe in the Discord channels when she goes on, or harassing Hillis, or fucking, you know, making up Twitter at Nadeo, you know, can you ban him, you know, or, you know, at Nadeo, he wasn't cheating, you know, how can you be sure? You know, blah, blah, blah. Let them deal with it. Take a step back. It has nothing in fact to do with us anymore. We've had our shit to say about it, you know. We can bitch about it if we want in a situation, but I think now, as we said, is the important point to move forward and to kind of accept what then comes forward from this. I mean, if you no longer like riolu's content as a result of this, you no longer like him as a person as a result of this, that's up to you. You know, I'm not going to say what you should or shouldn't do. I'm going to say what I feel about the situation. What happens, happens. You know, moving forward as far as I feel. All I would say is we wait until we see an official statement from Nadeo, and then we move forward from there. I mean, here's the thing, right? Short of coming out and slapping him on the wrist and saying, don't do that again, I don't really give a fuck what Nadeo does. You know? I really don't care. Because I now know what I'm going to do in terms of approaching riolu and how I talk about him, how I feel about him, whether I watch his content or not. And that's made up a lot of... And that's the thing for a lot of people. You know, they've had to have that talk with themselves a lot as well. So, I mean, Nadeo are going to say something, so don't you worry, TK. They are going to come out and say something. And then, well, even from that, I do think it is important to move forward from the riolu case. That's what I think is important to move forward from it. Let Nadeo do their stuff, move forward. There's no point fucking harassing them going forward. I mean, I did find it a bit uncomfortable, like whenever Phoebe came into our chat, it was just, at Phoebe, what are you going to do about this? At Phoebe, what do you think? At Phoebe, when's Nadeo going to ban him? You know, at Phoebe, this, you know, at Phoebe, that, you know. Obviously, Phoebe's the only Nadeo person that ever comes into my Twitch chat, so, you know, shout out to Phoebe. But here's the thing, right? Moving forward, right, because I think, as Shorty will be grateful, I do think we've kind of got out what we've wanted to say about this situation, right? Now, moving forward in terms of the cheating, not the riolu situation, the cheating situation in general. What do you guys imagine is going to happen going forward? Now, here's the thing, right? I don't know if there is still going to be investigations happening on other players. Like I said, I know there was videos uploaded for Lawrence. I know there was suggestions for people who were not included in the report. Again, not that I'm saying Lawrence is cheating at all. Not that I'm encouraging you to go and fucking grill him. You know, not that I'm encouraging you to... absolutely nothing like that. But we know that other people had suspicions, you know. We know there was other suspicious replays out there. We know not all the replays have been analysed. So I don't know if there is plans for that to be done going forward. But let me put it to you guys like this, because I know I've been talking for a little bit. How do we deal with the cheating situation going forward?
Basically, something I just quickly want to add about the Nadeo case and the report. Like you mentioned, definitely not pressure Phoebe, or in general, don't pressure Nadeo at all, because this is the very first time Nadeo has to deal with a case in this spectrum. And I think what Nadeo is and kind of has to do now is definitely also laying the groundwork for future cases like this. So this is a pretty big step and a pretty important step, and this shouldn't be rushed at all, you know. So even if you have to wait like 1 more month potentially or whatever, I really would like that to see, because this is really important. And yeah, like I said, it lays the groundwork for future cases like this and other potential cheaters in the future. So this is nothing that can be rushed on Nadeo's side.
Yeah, true. It cannot be rushed. It has to be a well-made decision. And yeah, you should give them the time. And I mean, we maybe have some influence here by saying, guys, just don't ask them. I mean, we have seen that. And of course, the people who asked Phoebe didn't mean it in a bad way. But I think Phoebe gets that question like maybe 20, 30, 50, 100 times a day if she's in a Twitch chat. So just give them the time. And I think it's a very, very foundational thing, maybe also for other games and also for the future of esports, how this will be punished. And I think it's a good point that you've mentioned there. It needs time, and definitely, yeah, we need to give them all the time they have, even though they know that they have to give the statement as soon as possible, because there's World Cup coming up. It should be kind of done before that, but if not, then it's also fine. But yeah, it's a sticky situation, but we should not rush it. Yeah, and what the consequence will be, we have to accept it from Nadeo's side, and then we're gonna just find it out. So yeah, this is how it is, and I think with that we should actually complete this topic for today. Or do you guys have anything to add?
Well, let me just give a little bit about how I feel about this going forward. Now, this tool is open source, as far as I know, and I would love to know how to use it. I would love to know. I would love to know, so I can go and fucking. I bet you Bomba's been cheating, so I'm going to search every single replay I can possibly find of Bomba's just so I can, out him as cheating. But no, nothing like that. I mean, one thing I would like to see is just something that actually shows me how the fuck to use it, so I can check out both my own statistics, so I can check out. But see, here's the thing, right? Not that I would say that the community should start fucking, trawling through every sort of record, or maybe I'm saying that, I'm not sure. But wouldn't you think it would be made a little bit easier if other people helped out with this, checking out a lot of other, instead of just focusing on Nadeo records, checking out classics, for example, another frequently hunted kind of map, that sort of thing. I would like to, kind of try that out and see that for myself, and also to help me understand the tool better a little bit. But also, I unfortunately don't think it's the end of the cheating scandal. I do think there is going to be players out there who are going to be caught. That's what I get the feeling of. I'm going to, not that I'm going to be able to do anything about that, because I don't have a fucking clue. You know what I mean? Like, I don't even run this podcast by myself. You need to thank Erwin for that. But yeah, I would like to know how to use it. I don't know about you guys, but I mean, do you think this is now the end of the cheating saga, or do you think it's going to be like Trackmania Grand League, where we have like something new to talk about every week or every 2 weeks or something?
For now, it is, yeah, but I think there will not be something that is coming up as big as this. Maybe some classic records or in some other games are cheated. We don't know, but with that, I think we can, close the book for now, and then just see what will be there or what is coming up next week or this upcoming week. Now, I think there will be some things coming up. If not, it's also fine. As Phoebe said there should not be a response demand as soon as possible. That's what I also said. If it's not coming before World Cup, if it's not coming in 1 month, it is fine. They really have to think carefully about what they're doing. And I think they're doing the right way. They're thinking over it, and they know that they have the responsibility. So, I mean, with that in mind, I mean, it's overshadowing a lot of Twitch right now. I mean, if you stream and also if you cast the competition, I mean, I was casting a competition where I had surprisingly a lot of viewers, like over 1,000 it was, but people were just like asking the question like hell, or also in Granadi's chat, you had to ban and time out so many people, and it's maybe time to maybe not move on, but to also try to comprehend and understand it, and then just move on and try to like leave it aside until the point where some other information are coming into play. That's my opinion about it.
Mm-hmm.
So the good thing is actually, even if there are gonna be like new findings and people are gonna start like searching through those classic tracks and whatnot, I think we all went through the worst of it already, because definitely is in terms of offline hunting and hunting in general, the Nadiro records are by far the most prestigious ones. So people care about those the most. And even if we would find like some cheaters in classic records and so on, I don't think it would blow up like this again.
Yeah,
like not at all. So there definitely are more cheaters that you can find in the solo leaderboards maybe, but it's not going to be a hot topic again. It's just going to be another cheater, and it's going to get resolved by MX, TMX, or Nadeo once they found out how to deal with them. And that's just going to be it, you know.
Mm-hmm. Now, let me just to round things off with you, Turbo. I will give you an allegation which was proposed to me in a Twitch chat. Might even been yours, don't remember. However, as you're as big a part of the podcast as I am, you know, I will direct this allegation to you as it was alleged to me, that we are simultaneously Wirtual, riolu, and was there someone else? I don't really remember. But that we are creating this drama so that we have something to talk about on Let's Talk Trackmania each week. That we created all the cheats, that we'd been cheating for 10 years as a result of this. And this was all part of Let's Talk Trackmania's plan to be relevant week in, week out. What's your impression on that?
It's absolute bullshit.
Pretty much, yeah.
Someone actually said that to me. I mean, obviously, just having fun, I'm sure.
No,
or maybe it's Erwin. Oh, now we're talking. Now the juicy details.
I mean, people are in love with conspiracies. So of course they would love to be true. But I think drama in this regard is always a good thing for people to come into the game, but can also be super terrible because what people are coming in then. That is my opinion about it.
Mm.
Sorry, I just to be very frank there, but I think you get my point.
I mean, obviously, it's complete bullshit, and but I got all I can say to
Toby,
that is
the drama queen. You always like
I like good drama. Okay, I like drama if it doesn't, if it's not bad for me or the game I like. It depends. There's drama that you can like, and there's drama that's just like But anyway, just guys, just all I can say to that weird guy, probably was ironic anyway what he wrote, but just wait for next week. We got something nice for you there.
He's a showman. He's staying, guys.
We are just starting, guys. We got more for you.
Yeah.
You think this is big? Oh, wait for what we have. No, just obviously, you know.
Let me take a look at the
talk.
script. Wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, what did you have for next week again?
Yeah. Oh.
Wait a minute, guys. Next week we're going to tell you Carl Jr. isn't real. So that's
Carl Jr. is a bot, and also, you know what? Pac Jr. is the son of Pac. You know, Pac has a child with.
We're gonna manage to convince someone out there that ESWC is just a massive symptom of the Mandela effect, and it wasn't actually real.
Never happened.
Yeah, it never happened. You know.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, I think that's it for us in today's episode, guys. Yeah. It's nearly 2 hours we've been talking about the situation. As always, I mean, this was by far our most demanded subject to be going into. You know, it's been something people have been asking a lot about. Going forward, we're going to try and not bring this up as many times unless it's new information, unless it's something new we've got to say about it. You know, it's the same way with Trackmania Grand League. We don't want to just be repeating the same shit week in, week out. I mean, fuck, who knows? We'll get a roll call of cheaters to fucking announce each week. Who knows? I mean, it's all part of the plan, guys, you know. But anyway, I mean, going forward, next week we'll try and get in a little bit about the Trackmania World Cup that's, of course, coming up, the Solary Cup, which we did neglect to talk about today, and my escapades and Escape from Tarkov are unfortunately not going to be coming up soon, sorry. But where you can check the other guys going forward, and our man has submitted another partner application, as to my left or right, I'm still not sure. As it got declined, feels bad, man. Well, I mean, with all the viewers you've got now, I mean, you might as well just require it. But yeah, I mean, check these guys out at their social media links, and that's going to be it from me at the very least. And of course, big thanks once again, and as always, to Erwin for bringing the podcast to us. It has been Let's Talk Trackmania episode 30, brought to you by myself, DM Scotsman, brought to you by LuckersTurbo, brought to you by Shorty, and brought to you by ESAC.gg. Shorty got to send everyone to bed last time, so it's only fair I give that to you, Turbo. But that has been it from me, and I hope everyone has a good night. Say goodbye.